Couples who I think got married, and if they're still together, my opinion only, JBL edition. They're still married, but they went to counseling, and they only went to counseling because their one friend, like, couple was like, please go get some therapy. You guys need it. They go, they listen to the guy talk. They don't take the advice. Their biggest fights are going to be about jealousy, and that's why they don't have kids, because they don't want to share their love with anyone else, which is absolutely fair. They will, however, be the last resort on a babysitting list of their one couple friend when they need a babysitter. And they will babysit, and it will be shenanigans, and they will go home and they will talk about how they're so glad they don't have kids, and then they will have very spicy time because they're a spicy couple. But we already knew that. This is a couple that everyone wants to be. Them married is absolutely precious. The only fights they're having is only because of misunderstandings, because they keep trying to self-sacrifice each other. Like, they're like, oh, if I do this, then my partner will be happy. Self-sacrifice. This is the only issue that they go over the entirety of their marriage, because they're just so good together. They get married young, they have kids, and the best part about them having kids is when one of them gets messed with, baby boy here is going to go feral. And when he goes feral, he's already there. He's on-site husband. No one messes with his kids, and definitely no one messes with him. They're married forever. Talkative king, great listener. Their kids are happy. Everyone loves them. They forever love each other. The adult versions of them, are you telling me they're not the spiciest couple that people don't know about? They are. Okay, last couple ain't got nothing on these guys. Ain't got nothing on these guys. They're spicy. They can get it, and they do get it. And they're happy marriage. Not just staying together for the kid after he is out of the house. They are still a happy, healthy couple. The only misunderstandings they ever have is when he goes quiet and he has the noodle emotion from him. They're working on it. They're figuring out who they are as individuals as well as a couple when there's not a child they're currently raising in their house. They may have kids further down the line. They're not sure, but I definitely think when Tane is old enough and he has his own family, that they become live-in grandpas. Like, they just come live in his house in this big happy family, and they have just wonderful shenanigans. I will say, I do think fights they have had and will have is when one of them says no to Tane or his children, and the other one is like, yes. And it's him. We know it's him. We know he is giving this boy and his offspring anything and everything he wants. And he's like, you shouldn't do that. But then, like, he kind of is like, okay, do it. Oh, they married. They married, and they spicy. Okay. I don't even really need to do this because season 2 just kind of showed you exactly the format that they take into their marriage. You're going to have a little jealous king. You're going to have a little baby girl king. He's always going to wonder if he's ever worthy enough for this guy. And this guy is going to go overboard to prove to him that he is, in fact, very worthy of him, and there's no one else. At first, he's not going to want to have kids because he's going to get really jealous that someone else is, like, being loved by him so much. But then he's going to get really into it, and they're going to be the most dramatic and most threatening PTO parents you have ever seen. The biggest fight these two guys are ever going to have is not about their own marriages, but about their friends' marriages and relationships. They're going to disagree about how they should help them and if they should just mind their own business, is what he's going to say. Like, should we just take a step back here? Do we have to, like, be in their business? And he's going to be like, yes, we have to be all up in this. All up in this. The married adult version behind closed doors of them is going to be very sweet. There's going to be some clumsiness. There's going to be some awkwardness. That's just because who they are as people. Also, the communication link between them often gets broken. If they have kids, which I would 100% bank on them doing it, he is going to be the absolute best crier. Like, sending them off to university or having them win an award in kindergarten, he is crying. He is standing behind him, like, patting his shoulder and like, it's okay. It's okay. You want me to make you, like, a cup of tea when we get home? Like, it's okay. They have fought about the constitution of marriage being a shackle around the ankle after you're, like, thrown into a pool. They live together, no problem. They're having fun. But the second marriage pops up, it becomes like a kind of fight between both of them for completely different reasons. But they end up doing some kind of story where they realize, okay, maybe we should get married. We want to get married, and let's get married. They end up throwing this huge, absolutely extravagant wedding event to where they have already fought about tablecloths and chair coverings, and they end up eloping anyway. Like they're going to the wedding venue and then they have this mini freak out and they just say, you know what? Like we already live together. We've been together for a long time. Let's just elope. Let's just leave. And they do. They leave. They get married in a very private ceremony. They take their own pictures. It's precious. They're together forever. They're spicy. They're spicy. They're the couple that you take on vacation with you and your significant other, and they make you self-conscious because you're like, what's wrong with my relationship? Why are they getting it so good in so many aspects? Like they are absolutely precious, and also don't walk in on them. You know, knock a few times and take a lap around the block because they're getting it. Their kids are going to be so well taken care of. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. But you can't tell me that this man isn't at some point in time just taking care of him as a child and their children. Like he is waking up early to make just a spread of food, and him and their children just like walk out sleepy eyed and like, thank you for the food. And they love it. Depending on how you took the end of the show, I took it well. They are still married, but they have a lot of problems. Like it was all about reconciling the fact that they had so many issues, but they ran out of time because it was the end of the world. But then like the world kept going. And so now they have a lot of issues that they may or may not go to therapy about. This couple definitely are breaking up and getting back together all the time, but not necessarily complete breakups. They just have their own places that they go to when one gets grumpy at the other. And then there's going to be a dramatic scene always where they just happen to glance down at their wedding band and remember they went to the literal end of the world together and decided that that was who they were going to be with. And they're just sticking to that like the rest of their lives. They are the couple where they ask each other at random times, would you still love me if I was a worm? Like they're together forever, but they never really feel very comfortable that the person is with them because they deserve it. And that's a self-doubt issue that they both may or may not figure out by the time they're old and gray. 100% still together. They are the most awkward work romance couple you have ever seen though. And even though they try to pretend they're not madly in love with each other and they do spicy stuff, like they fail epically. They're the ones that you walk into the elevator and their hands are lightly touching and they absolutely out and pretend they don't know each other for the rest of the day. So, married and well fed. That's all you need for him. That's all he needs to do is just feed him and he's good to go for the rest of his life. This marriage is a happy one. He gets worried about his own things. He just wants the food. And he loves him, but he just feed him and you're good. And he does. He feeds him and he's good. Their kids well fed. They're happy.